one of the best negotiations, and I think you and the negotiating team all deserve just a round of applause because it's been amazing. This is a significant milestone, and I'm excited too. I'm really excited to be here. We've been in Africa, ExxonMobil has, for over 100 years. When you look at our operations here in the countries we produce, over 90% are nationals. We're very involved in working with the local communities and developing the talent that's here, and we look forward to that opportunity in this ultra-deep water. We're here to share our technological expertise, which is, we think, a bit unique for the ultra-deep water, and I know that's one of the reasons that we were selected, and we're honored, very honored to do that and to be here today. So we think this is the beginning of a very long-term, wonderful partnership. We love investing here. We look forward to meeting many of you as we go along this road, and we have a very aggressive exploration program planned, and we're really hoping that it turns out successful for the country and for ExxonMobil and for all those who are committed to making this place better. And we, as I said, we're just super excited to be here. So thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, Madam. That was the Vice President Africa for ExxonMobil, Madam Pamela Darwin. Let me also recognize the presence of Mr. Kwame Jantwa of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Dr. Steve Mantiao is with Civil Society Coalitions on Oil and Gas. Dr. Mantiao, are you here? Thank you very much. And Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Mr. Grant. Thank you very much. I think we are moving on smoothly. I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Energy, Honorable Boache Trematin Ajakon, to give his statement on behalf of the government of Ghana. Let's put our hands together.
Honorable Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament, Your Excellency Rob Jackson, Ambassador of the United States of America, Chief Executive of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, representatives of ExxonMobil, distinguished ladies and distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen of the media, good morning to you all. Permit me to situate my statement on the canvas of 3 quotes. The first quote is by Henry Ford. He says, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." The second is by Narendra Modi. And he says, "We will naturally pursue our goals on the strength of our own resources, skills, and enterprise. But we know that we will be more successful when we do this in partnership with the world." The final quote is by Thomas E. Perez. And he says, "With patience, persistence, and partnership, we can create economic opportunities for every person willing to work hard for it. Thomas E. Perez. Ladies and gentlemen, and it is on this canvas that I wish to proceed. It gives me great pleasure to be here with you this morning as we set in motion this important partnership between the Republic of Ghana and ExxonMobil. All the parties involved have worked very hard to get us to this momentous occasion of signing the Deepwater Cape 3 Points Petroleum Agreement. I take this opportunity to convey my heartfelt thanks and appreciation for the boundless efforts that you all have displayed throughout the process. The commitment of both parties to achieving mutual benefits is truly commendable. Indeed, this agreement continues a trend of improving the country's strategic partnership with international oil companies. The terms of the agreement are among the best compared to other petroleum agreements signed in the past. In many respects, it is a accumulation of key lessons we have learned as our industry in just over 10 years since Ghana first discovered oil and gas in commercial quantities. It is also a testament to the dynamism and commitment of the Akufo-Addo administration to transforming the economic fortunes of our nation using this industry as a critical catalyst. Permit me to say a few words about our partners, ExxonMobil. The company is a renowned global leader in the industry and the world's largest publicly held oil and gas company. In 2016, ExxonMobil had a total resource base of 91 billion barrels of oil equivalent, having achieved consistent resource additions over the last few years. The company commands tremendous financial, technical, and human resources. It also remains at the cutting edge of technology, innovation, and know-how in the industry. ExxonMobil's presence in Ghana presents opportunities for considerable technological and skill transfer to Ghanaians through the structures provided for in the Petroleum Agreement. The company's exemplary track record in petroleum exploration in frontier provinces is particularly welcome in the already prolific Tano Basin, where the contract area is situated. ExxonMobil's willingness to invest resources in undertaking exploration activities offshore Ghana also reflects the growth and attractiveness of the nation's industry. This is particularly important following the final ruling of the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, ITLOS, in favor of Ghana. The DWCTP Petroleum Agreement is the first agreement signed following this ruling. In this respect, the arrival of ExxonMobil sends a strong positive signal to potential investors around the world that Ghana is truly open for business and has exciting commercial opportunities available in a well-structured maritime environment. We anticipate heightened activities in the coming years from both existing and potential projects in line with the government's strategic vision of building an industrialized nation powered by a robust energy sector. In all this, the government of Ghana continues to safeguard the nation's interest. As a total package, the fiscal terms of this petroleum agreement are an improvement over the past agreements signed before the commercial discovery in 2007. This progression has been greatly supported by an enabling institutional and legislative environment. The comprehensive legal provisions which have been promulgated and refined since the commercial discovery includes the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act 2016, Act 919, and the Income Tax Act 2015, Act 896. The agreement marks the first implementation of the mandatory 15% carried interest held by GNPC in line with the provisions of Act 919. Alongside royalties, taxes, and other payments, bringing significant financial benefits to the nation and a higher quantity of net oil than in a number of previous agreements. Ladies and gentlemen, after the fourth party, an indigenous Ghanaian company, has signed the agreement, we will then proceed to the Parliament of Ghana. Once Parliament ratifies this agreement, we will look forward to its immediate implementation. The Ministry of Energy, its sector agencies, and the government of Ghana as a whole remains fully committed to creating and maintaining an enabling environment to support the operations of ExxonMobil in Ghana. During deliberations, the Ghana team has been encouraged by the commitment expressed by ExxonMobil to build local capacity and leaving a lasting legacy in country. Indeed, the government of Ghana recognizes the level of investment that ExxonMobil has made in state-of-the-art infrastructure in jurisdictions that they operate in. It is the sincere wish of the government that ExxonMobil will replicate such investments and introduce fresh innovations within Ghana. I would again like to thank all parties involved in making this agreement possible. I wish us all tremendous success in the exciting journey we are embarking upon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you also for honoring us with your presence in support of this nation. God bless you all. God bless the Republic of Ghana. Thank you.
I think he deserves another round of applause. Any moment from now, I'll be handing over to the legal teams to start the signing. Let me recognize Mr. Nchibo Siako from the Minerals Commission as well. Mr. Nchibo Siako. At this stage, let me indicate the parties signing the agreement. On behalf of the government of Ghana, the Honorable Minister of Energy will be signing, and it will be witnessed by Mr. Lawrence Apalsi, the Chief Director at the Ministry of Energy. For ExxonMobil, Pamela Darwin, Vice President, ExxonMobil Africa, ExxonMobil will be signing, witnessed by Mr. Joseph Ope. And then for Ghana, Dr. Kofi Kodua Sapon, Chief Executive, GNPC, will be signing, and the board chairman of GNPC will be witnessing on behalf of GNPC. So at this stage, I'd like to invite Mr. Joseph Ope, Louisa Kweku and Nana Kuya can please join to help them do the signing. So at this stage, we are moving straight away to the signing ceremony. Nana Kuya and Louisa, can you please join us to assist in the signing ceremony? let me indicate that as the signing goes on, the media will have an opportunity right after the signing ceremony. We'll have a picture taken, and then the media will have an interaction. Dr. Sapon will be available for the media to speak to. After this, the Ghana negotiation team and the ExxonMobil team will be paying a courtesy call on His Excellency, the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, at 11 a.m. So the media interactions will have to be quick. We also want to recognize the presence of the Managing Director of Tullow Ghana Limited. Can you wave us? Thank you very much, Mr. Charles Daku. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's not this one. Then where is it? Oh, maybe some. Maybe you might have to take it from one of your colleagues. Okay. I think somebody fell. Whilst the signing goes on, I also want to recognize the presence of the technical managers from GNPC who will be working most likely hand in hand with colleagues from Tullow Oil once the agreement is ratified. Managers, can you please wave us, the technical managers from GNPC? Thank you very much for your presence. It's an opportunity for all of us to learn knowledge transfer and technology transfer. And let me say that whatever ExxonMobil, it happens, you know. Whatever ExxonMobil does here, obviously would have been based on some work already done by our hard-working technical managers from GNPC, data that they have acquired and analyzed, which will be built on. So that's why I wanted to recognize the hard work of our technical team at GNPC. Thank you very much. At this stage, there will be the exchange of the symbolic exchange of the agreement between the Honorable Minister for Energy and Pamela Darwin. Let's put our hands together for them. This is the moment.
make some money. It costs roughly $150 million to drill one well. And when you drill the well, there's no guarantee that there will be oil. On average, you're looking at drilling 19 wells to begin production. So you need a company that has the financial muscle to get it done. We are in a hurry, and we want companies that can get the work going. It is also important to look at the track record of who's coming into your space. We have looked at ExxonMobil, the largest publicly held oil company, and their operations in other places where they leave a lot of in-country development. Transfer of technology, skills transfer, and in fact, in some places, they have built campuses to train oil and gas people. And we are looking at ExxonMobil leveraging on all of these in order to move our production forward. We are in the ultra deeps, and ultra deep is not a place kids play. You cannot have little companies trying to do this. So it's very important to have ExxonMobil from the production side. The second is reputation. Reputation. To have a super major in your space says a lot, because they demand a lot to come in. They are coming in with the highest of standards of safety, highest of standards of financial and financial accounting, highest of standards of all that we need to get done in the country. So it is important, and I can tell you that once ExxonMobil signaled that they were coming in, we have received a lot of expressions of interest from other super majors who are now saying if ExxonMobil is coming, then it is also worth our coming. The BPs, the Shells, the Chevron, all of them are now interested in coming to operate in Ghana. It is following the signal of ExxonMobil accepting to be here. So we are leveraging the reputation of ExxonMobil in order to attract others. And I think it's useful for this country.
What will be your reaction to the concerns of not resorting to competitive bidding for this particular deal? Is this something that is justifiable?
I think that we haven't read the law. Act 919, Section 10(9) gives us the permission to go non-competitive. Let us not forget that ExxonMobil started this negotiation in 2015. When they started the negotiation, the act was not in place. The act came in 2016. So they started their negotiations in 2015 under PNDC law 64 and 84. They signed a memorandum of agreement, but 4 issues slowed them down from moving from the memorandum of understanding to the petroleum agreement. 4 issues had to do with things like the treatment of foreign exchange, tax issues, and so on and so forth. So the negotiation fell into abeyance. 2017, when we came in, they came back and said, look, we are in negotiations with you as a sovereign, and we want to continue, but these are the issues. Can we work through those issues? So they started their program before the law came. And you cannot retroactively apply the law, as it were. We've gone through it. But let me reiterate that the law itself makes it possible to go non-competitive tendering if there are justification. For example, we're operating in the deeps. We know the super majors are the ones who have, look, ExxonMobil in 2016 drilled 11 wells at $150 million each in Liberia, and all of them were dry. That's a $1.2 billion down the drain. I would not encourage Ghana to use its money in such a risky venture. So it is permissible, and one has to look at the capacity of who you are bringing in order to do direct negotiations. Sometimes competitive bidding even fails. Angola not too long ago did 2 rounds of competitive bidding, all failed. Right? So sometimes the situation does not even make competitive bidding the method of choice.
So my final question, having to do with the recent announcement of the reduction in cost of gas to industries, I would like to find out what is
what's in this agreement this time around that will be of proper benefit to the Ghanaians?
Well, I wonder what you define by what
local
you mean
content.
by benefits.
In terms of revenue and all that.
Well, I think, you see, you have to look at where we began from. Where we began from. To de-risk your basin, initially as Talo did, you need to give some soft terms to let them enter here. So the arrival or the advent of Talo was to help us de-risk the basin, which we achieved. That is why now you get all other companies trying to come over. So to say that maybe somebody's didn't benefit, maybe it would be too simplistic. The Talo one, I'm not looking so much at the percentages. I'm looking at the reason or the purpose for the entry, which one reason was not just give us monetary value, but also signal to the whole world that it was the area abounds in hydrocarbons. And that one we have achieved. Otherwise, ExxonMobil would not be coming here today. In terms of local content, I think initially the laws were a bit relaxed. Now they have been strengthened. And I think you saw the commissioner, the chief executive of the Petroleum Commission here, there to enforce the law. And indeed, in GNPC, we have the sustainability and the localization department, which tries to make sure that we draw our partners' attention to the models of operations, the way they operate, so that we take advantage to get benefits for our local people, both companies and individuals.
What about technology transfer as well? Was there an arrangement where GNPC can also benefit from this giant?
Definitely. I did make the statement that GNPC really has got the opportunity to learn from the industry leader. Upstream extraction of petroleum hydrocarbons is a very, very technical venture. Not all companies have it. You need experience, well exposed, people with money to come in. In this particular instance, you are dealing with a world leader. The best comes from Exxon. And that to even attract them into this country, significant step. GNPC certainly will take advantage of the situation, the opportunity that we have working with ExxonMobil to make sure that we will benefit from their technology. And I think the arrangements for capacity building, the arrangement for secondment of our employees to ExxonMobil. I must add that GNPC is positioned, or we are driving ourselves to become a technical operator in the near future. And it's important that we partner with those who have what it takes to bring the oil out, so that in the process we can learn and then also be in that situation where we can operate the field.
What was the major attraction for them?
The Exxon brand and the fiscal measures are good.
There was talk about a fourth company yet to sign the solar agreement for. Which company was that?
Well, that must be selected by ExxonMobil. Somebody will wonder, why is it that you are rushing to sign so that, why don't you wait for the selection? Yes, But we're looking at opportunities presented. They need to have an agreement of some sort to be able to go into the international market to raise finance. We have definitely, in the agreement we've signed, indicated to them that this agreement will not be effective if it's not ratified by Parliament. Parliament will not ratify the agreement until the indigenous Ghanaian company has been identified and also appended its signature.
So what timelines are you working with here?
We've given them maximum 270 days to give them the flexibility. But obviously, they are business people. I don't think they'll wait that long. Maybe, I'm sure, in the next 90 days or so.
And from then the prospecting will start?
Oh, yes, certainly. They are already in the country looking for accommodation for their staff, schools for their employees' children, office space. So I'm sure the onus is on them, and they will surely deliver.
What is next for GNPC after this?
So many things.
Like bringing in another partner, Chevron?
Definitely.
Shell?
Definitely. Well, I'm looking at China, the China National Oil Company, a big one. I'm looking at Aker in Norway, where you get a very good standard ethical behavior, and they are all lined up. And very soon, we'll be announcing them. I need to refer to the document. I can't call, but it's not. It is good. I would say it is good.
The Minister of Energy cited that the fiscal terms are much an improvement over last year. I mean, the previous agreements. What kind of terms?
Well, royalty is about 10%. Hitherto 5%, some 7%. Then also, GNPC interest moves from a minimum 10 to 15. Very exciting.
Finally, this agreement has been signed. For you, from the perspective of civil society, PIAC, what do you make of this whole deal?
Well, looking at where ExxonMobil's block is, it's in the deep water Tano Basin, ultra deep. Very few companies can do ultra deep. And I think it's a good thing that we've got ExxonMobil on board. The one good thing is that it now puts Ghana on a scale in terms of how the world sees us with oil production. And I think that is good for us. The one issue that is sticking at the present moment is the local content bit, the indigenous company local content bit. And when you look at the law says the local partner should have at least 5%. Are we able, as a local partner, to galvanize that 5% with regards to the local partners' engagement with ExxonMobil? So I think that is where the sticking point is now. We hope ExxonMobil can find it, because if they can't, then there is a lapse in the law that we'd have to look at. Because Ghanaians, when you look at ExxonMobil can buy Ghana if they want to. And so if they can do that, we need to have equal companies that can also partner ExxonMobil. So that is the challenge that is there now.
About that. So now what next? You've been able to bring in ExxonMobil as a giant in the global space. What is next for you as government of Ghana?
Well, our policy objective is to make sure that we pursue aggressive exploration. Aggressive exploration both in all the basins. So what next for us is to make sure that we have competent, well-resourced companies that can look in all the basins, central, eastern, and onshore. Because at the end of the day, if you do nothing and your reserves, after you pull them out, will dwindle. So it is important for us to make sure that we bring companies to pursue aggressive exploration. That is one. But those companies must be ones who are competent, i.e., have the technology, have the financial muscle, have the know-how and the skills to do the kind of operations in deep sea. Where we are now, or the acreage we've given ExxonMobil to go and explore, has about 7,000 feet deep. And the oil reserves, if they are there, will probably be another 3,000 feet deep to the reservoir. It takes a company that has the technological know-how, the competence, the skilled personnel to do deep sea drilling. So you cannot bring any Tom, Dick, and Harry oil company to do that. It's not normally the super majors who do.
Do you think that the end justifies them? Because there were concerns about the whole level of engagement. Why not even open up for tender and all the rest? And you think that
people should go and read the act. At 919.109 gives us permission to do direct negotiations. Also remember that this process started in 2015, where we signed a memorandum of understanding. The law came in 2016. Now, how do you then retroactively apply the law? Would that be good practice? That I've begun a process with you, I've signed a memorandum of understanding with you. We halted because there were bottlenecks in the negotiations. There was no discontinuance. It was just that let us go and find ways to overcome the obstacles. 2015. They come 27. The law comes in 2016. Right? And then they come in to reactivate, to continue from where we left off. Are we to apply the law retroactively?
Have you granted some of the waivers that they were asking for the forex, the tax issues, and the third-party issues as well to Exxon?
Look, the other oil companies operating are not under those rules. What is it? We are saying that their share of the oil which they sell must be brought back to Ghana. Not our share. Their share must be brought back to Ghana. Right? But if you read the Bank of Ghana Act, I think section 15, it is talking about merchandise export. The law, the regulation was made specifically merchandise export. Things like the gold companies and so on and so forth. So why are you going to operate in the space where other operators do not fall under the law or regulation you wish to impose?
You didn't grant them.
The Bank of Ghana will give them a waiver. Yes. But the other companies, I mean, it's fairness. There are the ENI and Talo and Cosmos and Nandako, all of them are operating without that restriction. Right? They are not without that restriction. And it is, if we have gone to the Bank of Ghana, looked at the law, does not apply to this. So the Bank of Ghana has agreed to write an exclusion to them.
Let's look at local content, Honorable Funali. What is also in to ensure that it is done? That is the concern here. Exxon is a huge company. Yes. What is being put in place to ensure that Ghanaians benefit?
There is a local content law 2204. And the Petroleum Commission will strictly apply that. This agreement does not become effective unless and until they have brought in their local partner, who will hold 5%. Now, this one will not even go to Parliament until and unless that condition is fulfilled. Once that condition is fulfilled, then it goes to Parliament for ratification before it becomes effective. In the contract, they are given 270 days to fulfill that requirement. Until then, this contract does not become effective. So there are laws and regulations, LI 2204, and it's been touted as one of the best local content regulations in Africa. So there are regulations to ensure the local participation and local benefits.
So we are hoping all that thing being equal before the third quarter, they should start exploring for oil?
Well, it will depend on how quickly they find a local. I know that they're in the process of evaluating. They're evaluating some companies who have applied to become local partners to them. They are evaluating them, and I am urging upon them that they do it as quickly as possible so that they can begin the exploration, the seismic, the test drilling and so forth and so forth.
Oil prices are going up on the international market. Some people are worried about the impact on petroleum prices at the pumps. At the ministry level, are you worried?
You have to worry. But worrying and wringing your hands is not the answer. What you have to do is, what are the mitigating steps that you can put in place? Stabilization is not sustainable in the long run. So what we have to do is to do the supply side management, make sure that we have sufficient products in the system. At the end of the day, it's a supply-demand equation.
Is your stabilization still working? Because we hear reports about some OMCs hiking prices and all the rest when AMP is saying that it is not accurate, it is not true.
No, the MPA gives an indicative price, band within which prices can move. So you find different stations with different prices. Right? It's a deregulated market. So you'll find Allied selling at, say, 4.6. You find another oil company selling at 4.7, 4. And so on. MPA gives an indicative price, and people play within that indicative
We
price.
had the stabilization levy being used to cushion prices, and we were told that till the end of February. But some OMCs are now saying that prices have gone up.
Well, at the end of the day, these are market-driven. We put in the stabilization hoping for February. But there are companies that are sticking to the 4.49. There are companies that are sticking. The biggest company, Goyle, hasn't changed price. You have to understand that some are inefficient operators in terms of their operating costs, and therefore will need to top load that inefficient operating cost on the price.
But are you worried by this development?
It is a concern. I mean, it is a concern. But at the end of the day, wringing your hands and saying, I'm worried, it's not a solution. We have to make sure that we put in steps that will mitigate.
Will you hike the stabilization levy so that they can cushion us?
It is not a question. Stabilization is not the answer. Stabilization funds do not work in the long run. Let us find long-term solutions where we'll have sufficient products on the market at all times to make sure that supply overwhelms demand.
Has plan of development, when are you going to approve it?
They haven't submitted a plan of development. They have up to September to submit. So until they submit, we would know.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank
My pleasure.
From Ghana. It's not, I don't
by the way.
believe that any oil company in Ghana today can train all our petroleum engineers and those who want to go into it. Ghanaians who want to go into the industry should make sure they invest. Some of us invested in ourselves to get into the industry. Well, government of Ghana has a role to play. But the ordinary Ghanaian who is interested in going to the industry should go and learn about it.
My question was, are you satisfied with what the government of Ghana is doing so far to build the technical competence of Ghanaians in the industry?
No, I don't think I am. I don't think I am because our educational institutions don't seem to have been aligned to the industry, and that is directly on government. And if they can't be aligned to industry, how do we build the capacity? Apart from that, the private sector should be taken and trained in oil and gas. That is the only way we can also build our ExxonMobils and our Chevrons and all those of this world. We cannot sit aside and expect the private sector to do it on their own. No, we should bring them together, just like the way Trinidad and Tobago did. We should bring them together so that they understand what it takes to do oil and gas. Not until we do that, it's going to be very difficult for the indigenous Ghanaian to be part and parcel of the industry.
Now, sir, a major oil company has been added to our industry.
Yes.
Now, before then, PIAC has had concerns in your reports about the inflow and use of some oil revenue. Now it looks like eventually when there's production or when production comes on stream,
Yes.
we're expecting more inflows.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Are you worried that we can really ensure that government uses these high inflow judiciously based on the fact that...
You see, the PRMA indicates that in the absence of a long-term national development plan, the minister has the priority to choose 4 priority areas from the 12 in the law. For government to be able to use the money efficiently, and in terms of making sure that they don't thin the money out, for me, they have to start accepting the long-term national development plan that has been developed. That is the only way you can now invest the money for everybody to know where the money is going. So today, we have 4 priority areas. We have education, we have health, we have railway, roads, and we have the 4th one I've forgotten. SHS alone can swallow all that money. SHS alone. If it swallows all that money, what happens to the rest of the priority areas? I think we've gotten to a stage right now where those 4 priority areas should be looked at again. And let's hope that government will accept the long-term national development plan that has been done by what are they called? I was part of it. The team that did it. You know, no. Hopefully, if government agrees to the long-term national development plan, at least it would help. It would help in terms of how oil revenues are being invested.
Now, are you not worried or are you concerned that a major player like Exxon could, in a way, have some undercut or hand in trying to interfere?
At the present moment, we don't know that will happen. So don't let us put the cart before the horse. We don't know that is happening. When it happens, we would see what we would do about it. But yes, for every oil company that comes in, you have to be able to police them effectively to make sure that they abide by the law. And that is the key, for them to be able to abide by the law. And sometimes it happens. Some of these big companies feel that they are big, so they can railroad any country. And we should make sure, PIAC included, should make sure that this doesn't happen. So from day one, they are supposed to pay surface rental. From day one, we should make sure that that is paid. Whatever they have agreed in their contract should be done. And everybody should be a policeman on it. ExxonMobil is a big company, and their shares are very important to them. So I do not think, and I hope not, that they will try to undercut. But you should know, where oil and gas is concerned with these big companies, they can be a cartel. And we should be ready and able to hold them responsible if they do anything untoward. Thanks.
So you spoke about the GNPC boss talking about this whole agreement helping it to be a standalone company. And Dr. Keke Sapon, who is actually the chief executive of GNPC, and his argument is that this is a strong company, it's a huge company, they have the financial muscle. There's kind of an agreement with them to see how they can have some technology transfer in terms of what they're going to do to explore the oil. And some bit of details, Darrell, what we understand, they have 270 days from today to start actually, let's use a literal word, maybe prospecting or actually drilling for oil. But before that one can happen, they also need to bring in a local company on board that could have 5% in the stake. Now, this agreement should go to Parliament. Parliament should approve it before they can go on to the sea area, if I can use that term, to start drilling for oil. Now, to get a little bit of idea in the area, it's still around the Jubilee Field area, but a little bit quite deeper, going into the ocean to trying to prospect for oil. But Darrell, I have with me here Ben Boachi. He is with the African Energy Center for Development and Policy. And Ben Boachi, thank you so much for joining us on Business News this morning. For you, finally, the agreement has been signed, and what do you make of it?
I can't say a lot about the details of the agreement because you and I don't know. We have had snippets of it. We've been told, for example, about the 15% carried interest, which of course is the benchmark set in the petroleum law. And that is refreshing to note that in spite of doing direct negotiation, they are staying with the dictates of the law, which is refreshing for us. So that is all we know. When you talk about Exxon as a company, we cannot doubt the capacity of Exxon as a global giant in the oil and gas industry. What we're expecting is that they would transfer that kind of capacity into our shores. They are known to have the technology, they are known to have the men, they are known to have the money. And these are the ingredients that you need actually to have oil exploration happening. We have seen some agreements that are similar in terms of even the carried interest that we are getting. Some of the agreements also give us 15% carried interest. But the point really is, who is giving you the 15%? Is it a capable company or a company that doesn't have capacity? You know, so when you have it from a capable company like Exxon, then you can, you know, rejoice, I mean, so to speak, because they can have the money to exploit the resources. Those that promised us bigger take in the past, they're just sitting on the block. So you have it on paper, that will never become a producing field because they don't have the capacity to actually.
Let's look at the bit about what is in terms of local content as well. There's a bit about royalty as well. Are you satisfied with what's being made known right now in terms of what is in for us as a country, Ghana?
Yeah, for local content, we are told that they're still going to look for a local partner to pick up 5%, which is the minimum requirement under the law. So we're hoping that they will be able to get that before it goes to Parliament, because Parliament would look out for a local partner in this whole arrangement. So that has been satisfied, and one that is done. We also don't just want to see a local partner like we have seen in the past. We want to see a local capable company. And what the ministry should be doing is to encourage Ghanaians where they don't have a single company with that capacity to actually pool resources, be able to set up, you know, a company that would have the vision of growing to become a giant, you know, in the industry. And that is what we're hoping that it will come by. For royalty, we don't know how much has been negotiated, but it cannot be below 10% as is stated in the law.
Exxon is big, and some would say that they can even buy about 50 countries in the world in terms of their value. What should be the position and the posture of Ghana in terms of future negotiations? Because this is even supposed to go to Parliament, so we are not done yet. What should be our posture in terms of when you're engaging them, in terms of what we can be doing, or the fact that, I mean, they can just pack their bags and leave tomorrow? I mean, they have nothing to lose.
They have everything to lose. I mean, they're a business. They're looking for investment. They don't have resources on their own. And that is what resource-rich countries always have to recognize. Regardless of how big Exxon is, if every country shut their door at them and say, don't come, they don't have any resources to mine on their own. So you recognize that you have the resources, and that is what should give you the power to negotiate and to face whoever is coming in, regardless of their bank account or the size of the company. You know, and for us as a country, I'm happy that we have stayed with our law, you know, which demands that at least we should get 15%, and we know that we can also go below what the law says on royalties, for example, and also getting local content in there. But even implementing the agreement itself, that is where you expect Petroleum Commission and the ministry to assert that right, you know, to the resources, because the resources are ours. It only comes out for us to share with whoever has invested. And you and I, civil society, the media, will also have to be part of the monitoring to ensure that nobody bullies Ghana because they have the money. We have the resources.
Let's talk about when Exxon moves, other global giants follow. Do we have what it takes to accommodate other global giants coming in? Let's talk about Shell, let's talk about the China National Oil Corporation and all the rest.
Yeah, I've also heard, I mean, some of them expressing interest in Ghana, and they all want to come in. But the caution really is that as they come, let us follow our laws. You know, the law says that we should do competitive tendering for petroleum blocks. Let us use that as a default mechanism for awarding petroleum blocks. This should be the last that we want to see, you know, negotiated directly without going through competitive tendering. And that's what I want to see the ministry do.
Finally, from your independent assessment, do you think that we are there or we are on our way? Can we call ourselves a major player in the industry, or we are now getting there, or can it be classified as an oil industry with all these big players coming on board?
We have an oil industry. I've had some argument that we don't have an oil industry. I mean, what is an industry? We are producing oil. We have a refinery, even though we are not refining it yet. We are exporting. So we have an industry. What we don't have is many production fields. And if we have Exxon and other big players coming in to push us to produce more oil, then we can expand the industry, we can expand the output as a country. And that is why it's important to recognize the role that these big players can play in your industry. So it's welcome to see them attracted to the shores, But most importantly, we have to recognize that we have laws, and at all times, we have to implement our laws regardless of who is coming in.
So, Dara, those were the thoughts of Ben Boache. They're sharing us and what he thinks, what he makes of this whole agreement, and what should we be doing as a country going forward, Dara. So, Ben, I'm just passing over a question from the studio to you again, that looking at what we've been disclosed to or we've told about already, do you think that this is the best agreement this country has secured when it comes to oil agreement with a giant like Exxon?
I think you can say it is the best when you're looking at the capacity of Exxon in addition. We have seen at least one agreement also giving us 15% take, but that company didn't have capacity to really venture into serious exploration. You know, but if you have a giant that has the money, technology, and the men to do it, put that together, and you can say it's the best agreement. And for the first time, I mean, we have a press, outdooring of an agreement. It never happened. We chase agreements even to Parliament, and you see the final wind of it, before it is approved. But to see an agreement negotiated, to see agreement, advertised with reasons why they would do direct negotiation, I think is a plus, and we can only move on from there to ensure that we can open up the industry to greater transparency that benefits Ghana.
I think the society groups have contributed to this.
I think absolutely. I mean, we have engaged a lot to make the law passed, and we can also give a thumbs up to the past regime that passed the law, for taking our suggestions on board. We still have room to improve the laws and make them work for the Ghanaian, and that's what we'll continue to do, monitoring the law and ensuring that it is implemented to the latter.
So, Daryl, that's our coverage of this so-signed agreement with the ExxonMobil, a global giant. Daryl, from us here at GNPC, over to you guys in the studio.